Colleen Schmidt, once again from Divination Counseling Service, here to bring to you today a moon ingress into Taurus chart. So I'm continuing our series on the moon ingress, and moon ingress charts are wonderful because they are a predictive tool. It's also an educational tool for just the next couple of days. So it's not like doing astrology daily, but a couple times a week and just kind of peeking in to see how it looks. So we're looking today at a chart that goes into effect May 19th, 2020, 10:11 p.m. So 10 o'clock, 11 minutes p.m. So that night of May 19th. So depending where you live in the world, could actually be May 20th, May 19th, so somewhere there. But in any event, so here we are, our new chart, and a couple of things I want to really point out here. First of all, the fact that the moon is residing for this few days in the fourth house, we would say, hey, this is great because the fourth house is often associated with healing. However, in this case, I want to point out, because I am going to take this as an opportunity to work with the asteroids because they're there. And if you look at this moon at 0 of Taurus, right here in the fifth, you will see that there is an Orpheus at 0 degrees 20 minutes. And Orpheus, well, you could listen to music that day, and it would be a great way to be soothing and healing, but Orpheus is also associated with death. And the 26 and the 25 point out that people, here we go with, in some cases it might be that people are really self-destructive and that leads to death. Or it could be heart issues that are destructive. So in any event, or it could be just, again, referring to the fact that if we're dealing with a virus, heart disease is one of the conditions you really don't want to have with it. So, because it's not good. So here again, it features the sun itself in the fifth house. Again, our self-expression is thwarted by Adamitas at 1 degree. So that's something too that we're going to look at constantly, is like, where is the sun in relationship to this? The other thing I want to point out is that the sun is actually forming an out of sign trine to Saturn, which happens to be in the second. Now, what this means is, now there's Pallas here also, that there's a lot of strategy because there's no money. Saturn is like not having enough money. And Mars is about wanting to make money. So that sun is in a trine to that Saturn. And remember, when one planet says something, the other one swears to it. So not exactly great, because we're still really, really limited. And sometimes we're limited just because the funding is just not there. The other thing I want to look at here, this moon, which we wanted to believe is healing, is also still in proximity to that Uranus. And what that means is an unpredictable public. It also means emotions that are not, we're not handling things well. So, and the other thing I want to talk about here is this Apollon up here at 2 degrees of 53 minutes in retrograde is still in an aspect to that moon in opposition. And when I see that in opposition to also death, it makes me worry that we're going to start having some not so great news when it comes to our numbers. And this kind of proves it too, because here we have Hecate. And Hecate is life and death. And right here is karma that's oppressive, or should we say, yeah, it's karma, okay, the fate, and that fate is oppressive. So it does seem as though some people are getting it, that if we go out into the world, we have to question the chaos. We have to question because it's going to slow recovery. The fact that we don't know things will slow recovery. Right there in the descendant, let alone chaos is in there. Look at this. Vesta to Hygeia. It's our own, and by the way, aspected here by this descendant. It is the idea with a retrograde Venus here. That worries me too, because I worry about people jumping back out there too soon and having some pretty dramatic results that are not what we're looking for. And one of the things that it talks about here is this idea of being distant for our well-being. Even if you're working one-on-one, you have to come up with solutions. We talked about this in another Ingress, the one before, where, Chiron was affected. You have to understand that it's up to us to think outside the box now if we want to continue living. You can't go back to things as they were. We now have to look at the bigger picture. So that's a part of what's going on. Okay, so let me go through some of this. When we go into the reports, which I do like to do, we see all of these aspects to the moon. Okay, so I talked about the conjunction to Uranus, the unpredictability, also the sextile to the node. This is an opportunity, and the trine to the south node. Some people will not regret their actions. Also with the trine to the ascendant. One says it, the other swears to it. But I want us to look at this. The square to Saturn, the square to Jupiter, okay? The square to Pluto, the square to Pallas, okay? This opposition to Apollon, these are also very important. This counter, this contra parallel to Zeus, sort of like an opposition. You kind of wonder if the public's not getting the wind kicked out of their sails a little bit from all this expansion. And that is something for us to think about. So it is about expansion as well, but it's in a safe way, and again, dealing with the unpredictability of people. So that takes us, so I'm still dealing obviously with a lot of closures. These predictions only go for a couple of days. And we're obviously still in quarantine, at least to the yellow phase. And in all honesty, even in those places where they're going all green, all out, I think there's going to be a little bit of just rewards here. And, I don't want to say it in, hey, haha or whatever, but you do have this just rewards hanging around this ascendant too for a little while. And even though it's retrograde, it's almost like it could catch up to us. So I just want us to be aware. That's all I have for today. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to have private work done, please contact me through divinationcounselingservice.org. I would love to hear from you. Also share, spread the word about the gold and silver keys of empowerment. Until we meet again, happy readings.